Hey everyone, Vicctre here. I'm going to start off by brushing over the fact that I've been dead for...
a hot minute.
Well, I'm here now with a new video, so at least we have that going. So let's talk about version 6.0 for a second. It gave us Terry, and it gave us a bunch of new balance changes for lower tier characters, and Kirby was one of the characters to get buffed. Now, do I think these buffs were enough to make Kirby a viable character? Well, if that were the case, I probably wouldn't be making this video, so yeah. But always look on the brighter side. Kirby did get some attention this patch, which was really nice, and I can only hope that they continue to give him more attention. And just in case they do give him more attention, seeing as version 7.0 and Byleth are right around the corner, I'd like to give some ideas for what I think they can change down the line, whether it be this patch or the next patch. In this video, I want to talk about what Kirby needs to become a more viable character in Smash Ultimate moving forward from version 6.0. Now, this wish list is still a work in progress as opinions and characters both change, so this video is getting a fat version 1.0 next to it. With all that said, let's get into it. Jeez, this video's taken way longer than it should have. So, we're going to start with character attributes, and if you know Kirby, you probably know where this is going to go. Yeah, I'm talking airspeed. Now, of course I'm talking airspeed. Like, you can't see any buff wishlist for Kirby without seeing airspeed. It's kind of a meme at this point. But let's get it out of the way real quick, shall we? Yes, Kirby needs better airspeed. How much so is a bit debatable. I think an airspeed buff going from 0.84 to 0.95 is a good spot for Kirby. Not too high, not too low, relatively on the lower end of the spectrum, but still better than what he is now. Slow airspeed kind of falls in line with the character's natural weaknesses, such as having shorter range and being a lightweight. However, Kirby's kit isn't balanced very well around his slow airspeed. Most characters with slow airspeed like Luigi and Incineroar have fast aerials to compensate, and top tiers usually have a good blend of both, because why wouldn't they? This leaves Kirby in an awkward position, with low airspeed and slow aerials, which we'll get into later. His airspeed overall just needs to be less crippling to his kit, rather than reworking him into an air fighter like Jigglypuff. Now this is the other half of the airspeed story, air acceleration, aka how fast your character can reach their top speed in the air. Giving Kirby more air acceleration makes it at least easier for Kirby to reach his top speed, even if it's not that fast. Kirby already has decent air acceleration, but for some reason they nerfed it way back during the transition from Brawl to Smash 4, and it's been relatively lowered ever since. Technically, Kirby in Brawl was faster in the air than Kirby in Smash Ultimate, which is overall a much faster game. Now, I have no idea what compelled them to make Kirby's weaknesses even worse, but due to this, it's obvious that Kirby's moveset needs a little bit of an update. Moving on from character attributes, we are now getting into the moves themselves, starting off with his ground game. I can easily say this is Kirby's greatest strength. And now you might be asking, well, why buff it then? Well, we'll get into that. First off, Jab, which did recently get a buff in version 6.0, going from frame 3 to frame 2, which is nice for beating out the usual frame 3 jabs that a lot of characters share. However, the move needs help in other areas. For one, the range of Jab 1. It doesn't match the visual, and for some reason it's outranged by the front hit of up tilt. Like, really? So I would naturally buff the range of Jab 1, and another buff I would want to give to it is to increase the damage of it overall, as the multi-hits are very weak. And while they do hit a good amount of times, with how weak they are, the damage only adds up to around 4% max. I think doubling the damage of the multi-hits going from 0.2 to 0.4 would give us more reward for landing the move in the first place, and be more in line with most other jabs. Next, I want to talk about Kirby's up tilt, which might sound a little bit weird to say, but hear me out. I think this is a case where buffing one move, even if it's already good, will help the rest of the character's moveset so well that it'd be kinda weird not to include it. Improving the hitstun on Kirby's up tilt by about 4 frames allows for Kirby to have a better combo game at lower percents and has more consistent kill confirms at higher percents. Overall, just making this move more scary to be hit by. Another case for an already good move to be even better would be down tilt. Really simple, just shave off 3 frames, that's it. The main issue with down tilt is that it's unsafe at lower percents, and this really hurts Kirby when he's looking for an opening. And this buff would allow Kirby to have a move many higher tier characters already have, a move that you would have to fully respect. This buff also means that Kirby won't only have to rely on the trip to get some possible combos out of it. And finally, we'll get into Kirby's dash attack. Seeing how good fast burst options are in this game, making dash attack stronger and slightly less laggy would really help Kirby in terms of closing gaps and taking stocks effectively. Might be a bit much, but I think killing 15 to 20% earlier would do wonders for this move. Now, version 6.0 got me excited, not just for the fact that Kirby received buffs, but for what those buffs might entail. Kirby didn't see any frame data buffs to his aerials back in Smash 4, which were always kind of a glaring weakness of the character. But now that he has received 2 aerial frame data buffs, it leads me to believe that they aren't out of the question anymore, and that the devs aren't afraid to tamper with his aerials. So, of course, I've got some ideas. First on our aerial buff list is back air, which comes out fairly quickly at frame 6 and has some decent kill power, despite being nerfed from Smash 4. Like, why? Despite its quick startup, it has quite the amount of endlag, and it could use something to make it a little bit more different from the new Nair, since it's another one of Kirby's strong aerials that's used to kill. I believe the best way to differentiate the two is by making back air safer and faster overall, at the cost of facing only one direction. Reducing the endlag by about 8 frames puts this move in line with most other back airs in the game, as well as making it easier to use off stage. And increasing the auto cancel window allows it to be used closer to the ground more safely. Also, a good quality of life change would be making back air kill a little bit earlier, like just a little bit, like just putting it out there. Moving forward, or down, we're going to be talking about Kirby's down air. For those who are not aware, Kirby's Dare in Smash 4 was able to combo into down smash for a kill confirm at higher percents. This was a reliable way to guarantee a stock, and it is thanks to frame cancelling and rage affecting set knockback that made this combo possible. With frame cancelling removed and rage not affecting set knockback anymore, Dare's landing hitbox combo potential took a major hit, and has gone from one of Kirby's best to one of his worst moves in Ultimate. Now, hitting the landing hitbox grants Kirby either 1 or 5 frames of advantage, depending on the weight of the character, meaning most tilts and grabs are not guaranteed. So, what would I change? Well, for starters, the startup. Being frame 18 is pretty bad, all things considered, and while most Dare spikes are around frame 16, and if you're lucky, either 15 or 14, most of them are really strong to compensate, and are capable of taking stocks very early. Being one of the weakest spikes in the game, coupled with Kirby's slow airspeed and its really slow startup, makes this move overall very mediocre. I think this move needs to be faster across the board, having less startup, less end lag, and less landing lag. I suggested about 4 frames to each of these. More than anything, I really want Kirby's Dare to have kill confirms in the smash attacks. Now I at least want down air to down smash to be possible, which would take up to 9 frames of advantage to become a true combo on the entire cast. Even I can admit 9 frames of added hitstun is quite a lot, but I think a good way around it would be to reduce the landing lag by 4 as I mentioned before, and then increase the hitstun by 5. This buff could easily take my top spot for what I want to happen to Kirby the most, and while it's not the most practical, it would help Kirby's issue with securing stocks more effectively, and just overall make it better for combos. I really want this move to get buffed. But if you want to know more about Kirby's down air, go ahead and watch the homie Juggle Boy's video. He released it a couple days ago, and it's really detailed. And anything I didn't cover here, he most definitely covered. I highly recommend you check it out. Not just because a lot of us Kirby mains want his down air to be better, but more so because it's really good to know this information. Next thing to talk about is Kirby's grab game. And if you're a Kirby main, or if you've played Kirby on Battlefield, then you probably know where these buffs are going to go. This is going to be on the shorter side, so it should be relatively quick. One of Kirby's biggest and most nutritious... It says nutritious in my script. Thanks, autocorrect. Notorious problems. Forward throw, for as good as it can be, gets completely shafted by some platforms on legal stages, meaning most combos are gone. I feel this is an oversight, but it's also concerning this hasn't been addressed since launch over a year ago. Forward throw got some indirect addresses with up air and neutral air coming out before Kirby hits said platforms, but it didn't directly address the issue. Since I am not a dev, there could be many ways of fixing it, but since I don't know how else to go about fixing it, I suggest to reduce endlag by about 4 frames, allowing Kirby to stop his upward momentum faster and finish his combo before he lands on the platform. Now this could be seen as a buff, as who knows for what less endlag can do for forward throw combos, which is why I'm open to any other ideas, but bottom line, fix forward throw please. Let's talk up throw. This buff is interesting because I tried my best to calculate this as accurately as possible, seeing as the values have not changed from Smash 4. And the only real reason why it's weaker is because the relatively higher ceilings and faster fall speeds across the cast. I'd say buff up throw to make it kill around 20 to 25% earlier, seeing as with proper DI most characters live 20% longer anyways. This buff wouldn't be to make this move that much stronger, but rather to make it more consistent at killing. Kirby's up throw is also an explosion, so if it can look strong, it should be strong. Now with grab game out of the way, we can finally move on to the final category of this list. And last, and most likely least, we get into Kirby specials. In most situations, they're impractical, and sometimes they're kinda broken. They just kinda need to be reworked. First, we'll talk about Kirby's signature ability, his Inhale. Now the concept is there. Giving Kirby an answer to being camped, which has always been an issue of his, is a great buff in concept, but the execution could use some work. Like, why do I want to eat projectiles? Unless I'm memeing on my opponent, it's usually not safe, and you are only getting 1% out of it, making shielding or crouching usually the better option. Reducing the swallow time by about 30 frames would make it much easier to safely heal without being punished, and it's closer to be in line with Wario's Chomp. A good quality of life change could make swallowing projectiles heal more or as much as said projectile does, but that would probably take a while, so I'm not expecting it anytime soon. Now to talk about Final Cutter real quick. The move overall is okay, but it literally just needs to be faster. Like, that's it. I suggest a startup reduction of about 7 frames, making it more effective as a combo finisher or an anti-air tool, and then reducing the landing lag by 3 frames, making it less punishable upon landing. Seeing as they're not going to give back the projectile's range that it used to have from Brawl, they might as well make it a little bit faster in some regard. Next, we're going to talk about Stone, and this is the best way how I can summarize it. Make it hit both times on shields, please. Let Kirby break shields again, like he used to in Smash 4. Stone can use other buffs too, like being faster, or being stronger, or the super armor coming in sooner. But I think fixing this takes priority. And that's the list. Might seem like too much or, frankly, overkill, but hey, it's not called a wish list for nothing. Now the full list of buffs will be in the description if you wish to read over them again, as well as sources that I took extra footage from to prove my points. I'll be in the comment section if any further questions cross your minds. anyone who plays this character or just likes Kirby, I salute you. He's like my favorite character of all time. And to all of my friends who consistently have to hear me complain about Kirby not being buffed or good, thanks for watching. I'm sure you've heard 90% of this. Shoutouts to my boy Tim G and Pikake, who chatted with me and helped me research. They helped a lot with this video. And with that, I'm out. Version 7.0 is on the horizon, so let's hope for our boy. Hope y'all have a good rest of your day.